Hello, it's Cams Man and Jack from BAM, and we are back over at Phase 4. And well, it's been quite a long time since we've been over here, Jack, so what's been happening and what are you going to show us today?
It has, yeah. It's been probably a good 3 or 4 months, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So today we're just going to have a bit of a general overview and a bit of an update on where we are with the different areas that we've been working in. We'll start at CBU 18, where we'll look at the kind of demob operation which has been completed, now that the nailing and netting programme has been completed up there. We'll have a wander down to CBU 19 to look at the weir, where we're undertaking some channel realignment works, and we're also improving the conditions to the existing weir to divert the water back over it. We'll have a brief look back on CBU 20 and 21, where the nailing and netting programme is largely complete in both the areas.
Yeah.
And then we'll move down into CBU 22 and 23, and we'll look at the talus removal operation, which has been ongoing over weekends. And now that we've remobilised to the area following the owl moving back out, with the drilling and operations which are ongoing there, we've currently got 4 rigs working in there.
Okay.
And then finally, we'll have a look at CBU 24, 25 and 26, where we're undertaking the drilling works on the cliff face and nearing completion of the programme over there.
And that's Corriton Cove, isn't it?
Yeah, just above Corriton Cove Beach.
So before we take you around the cliffs between Dawlish and Holcombe, you can now trial our VIP subscription for 14 days. With the VIP subscription, there are no adverts, you can rewind the live streams up to 24 hours, visit our Railway Enthusiasts pages, and watch multiple cameras simultaneously with our brilliant multicams pages. Just visit coastcams.me/trial and sign up today. This is Phase 4 of Network Rail's South West Rail Resilience programmes, and following on from the new seawall at Dawlish and rockfall shelter at Parsons Tunnel. It's all part of a government-funded programme of ongoing work on the line between Dawlish and Teignmouth, helping reduce the disruption for passengers by affording the railway better protection from the cliffs and the sea.
So we'll start today's tour with CBU 18, or for those of you that don't remember, Cliff Behavioural Unit 18. So this area was completed at the back end of June. We completed the nailing and netting programme probably towards the end of May, and then we started the demob operation from the area. So what you can see on the cliff face at the moment is a lot of vegetation and a lot of regrowth through our erosion control matting and through the nailing and netting itself.
Yeah.
That vegetation will continue to grow back, and it will almost kind of improve the system, if anything. It makes the system a bit more woven. You get the roots which grow, the shallow roots which grow into the cliff face, and then all the vegetation kind of entangles itself into the netting system. Okay. So you can see over the top of CBU 18, we've taken the haul road out, which we were using to service and get all the materials to the workforce when they were down working on the cliff face.
Yeah.
And then we've also removed the cliff top compound. So this is where Morgan Sindles were previously delivering the rockfall shelter from.
That's right.
And what we use for our compound for the delivery of the works up there. So in total in that area, there's about 1,565 nails completed.
Okay.
And like I say, those have all been installed.
And how long are those nails, Jack?
So in that CBU, they're all 11.25 metres.
Okay.
The CBU 18, before we started, that did already have existing nails and existing netting in, but it was only the top 1/3 of the actual cliff face,
right,
which had nails in. The whole face was netted, but that was what we call a drapery system.
Yeah.
So the nails were installed on the top third as the same grid spacing as what we've done for the rest of the nails below.
Yeah.
But if there was a slip inside the remaining 2/3, the slip would be contained in the netting and it would just trickle down to the embankment. Whereas now we've made the whole system in CBU 18 an active system.
Okay.
So we've changed the netting in there to stainless steel netting, which gives you the 100 years resilience, is what Network Rail are after. And then we've also installed a stainless steel nail. We haven't installed any new nails on the top third. We inspected the nails that were already installed, and they were we could reuse those nails as part of this design solution.
Okay.
So BT Jenkins then, come the end of May, they started stripping out the compound area and the haul road back to the main compound entrance.
Yeah.
And then we've completely removed the main compound entrance and reinstated it to its original condition. So we had the photographic survey sent to us by Morgan Sindle before they started any works there. And what we have to do is negotiate with the landowner, what the reinstatement details are.
Okay.
So in CBU 18's case, there's two particular landowners. Network Rail own everything over the cliff top, so where the haul road was over there, that was Network Rail land. And then from where you go back into the fields, there's two landowners.
So the other side of the southwest coast path.
That's it, yeah. So we had to discuss with our land agent, get the landowners out to agree and discuss a reinstatement detail. Hedgerows have to be replanted, fences have to be reinstated, and the ground has to be put back to the same level and same contour as it was previously. So prior to starting, all of that was 3D modelled. Yeah. The 3D model was then stored, and then BT Jenkins, when they bring all of their plant and equipment in, or all their machinery in, to do the reinstatement works, they regrade everything and topsoil everything back to those back to those original levels. Okay. Just so it doesn't change the kind of surface water runoff in the area, all that sort of stuff.
So that's all using drone technology, is it, the 3D?
Drone technology we use, or we can do it manually. Okay. In that particular case, Morgan Sindles have done that manually. Okay. We've done everything with the drone for all of our cliff faces just because of the accessibility.
Yeah, of course.
So at the moment we're just looking at the guys down in CBU 19 now. So there's no nailing and netting to complete in here. Yeah. Previously, the water course which runs through here, the stream, would pass underneath where the machine is, and it would go around the weir structure. So the weir wasn't being utilised how it should have been used as per its original design solution. All the water was kind of scouring away that weir, and it was causing the weir to become undermined. So at the moment, you can see it just up the top there. We've got a pump in place, and this bagging that you can see down here connects down to the bottom of the stream.
All right.
And this is over pumping the water and, and diverting the water out of the way. Right. I mean, it would have been nice to do something like this with the stream when we were building the seawall, but
Camden Brooks,
we would have required some much larger pumps than this.
A lot more water there, isn't there?
Yeah. At the moment, the stream is quite low, so the pump is quite oversized for what we use it for at the moment. But when we do get periods of heavy rainfall, the catchment area for the stream is huge. You've got all of this section between CBU 18 and where the compound is, where all the water's funneling into this section down here.
That all comes from Holcombe, doesn't it?
Yeah. So this water level does increase drastically. So it's nice that we're undertaking this work in the summer, really, while the water levels are low. That's the way the work has been planned. So like I say, the stream went through this section where the 8-tonner's just sat at the moment. We've got the rubber duck at the top at the minute, and he's just feeding some concrete into the bucket of the other machine where the guys are leveling the base. And what we do in this section then is we re-profile the ditch, and we put what's called a Reno mattress in. So it's almost like a mattress made of stone. So it's a metal fabric, and then what you do is you lay the mattresses down, put stone on top, and then seal it all up at the top. Right. And you tie everything back together. And that prevents the sides of the bank from eroding then. The stone protects it. So by the time you come here the next time, all of this should have a nice profile to it, and the water should be running back underneath the bridge there and through the weir structure. So like I just mentioned previously, the water, prior to us starting any of the weir works in here, would come pretty much in line with where the bagging is, but at a much lower level, and it would come around and past the weir structure. You can see the bagging that we've got in place at the moment. And every now and then you'll see the pump spurt out a load of water from the end, which is where we're over pumping from the stream. And the water then goes underneath the track and out to sea.
There we go.
So what we've done in this section, the brickwork was quite high on these two walls, and if you remember, there was a bit of a pipe work in the last video, which looked like it was like a sump that was collecting water, and it possibly would have been something to do with the steam trains in the past. But we don't really know what it was used for exactly. So we've lowered those two internal walls in there to give the stream more capacity, or the weir more capacity to deal with the stream, should I say. And then we've built the reinforced concrete walls at the back. So all to the rear of this structure, there was no foundation. So the last time we were here, we were doing a load of coring works into the weir itself. Yeah. The coring works confirmed that there was no foundation underneath the back, so we've broken out all of the brickwork that was in there and then created a reinforced slab with the two reinforced walls either side to divert the water back through the open mouth of that weir over there then. You can see at the moment the guys have just got some temporary shutters in. They're just putting some mass infill concrete behind those just to help with the reprofile and exercise of the mattress when we put that into there. Yeah. And that will create a nice gradual turn into this weir structure and prevent the sides of the bank from re-eroding again and the water coming around the side again.
Okay, and how long is it going to take you to get this finished
This will probably all be wrapped up in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that's including we've got about 15 metres of upstream works to do above the weir, which is with the Reno mattress.
Yeah.
And then we have some fencing to reinstate either side. So the southwest coast path is still open.
Yeah.
So for anybody wanting to come down and walk along here, you can still access down through.
Okay, cool.
The nails range from, there's a couple of 3 metre nails, a couple of 5 metre nails, a couple of 8 metre nails, but the vast majority of the nails are either 11.25 metres, and about 10% of them are about 13 metres.
And those long ones are multiple bars put together, aren't they?
Yeah. So the maximum bar length is 2 metres at a time, and we use a coupler or a joining. It's like a joining device which connects 2 bits of bars together, and that's how we get to the nails to be 11.25 metres or 13 metres. We do it into 2 metre sections just because of the manual handling element on the cliff face. So a 2 metre bar's around about 25-30 kilos. So it's just to keep the manual handling down. The bars themselves are lowered down in protective sacks to the drilling teams, and then the drilling teams pull the bars out tethered and put them onto the next section of bar and keep going until they reach the design length. So with that total number of nails, there's roughly about 60 kilometres of drilling to do, which is basically almost here to Bristol.
It's quite incredible how quickly that vegetation's grown back.
It is, isn't it?
It's only, what was it, 3-4 months ago we were over here, and that was just bare cliff.
I mean, if you compare the drone footage for when we were stripping out the haul road on the top, the difference between when it was the completed nail and netting program was done, and now, which is probably 2 months.
Yeah.
The difference is just drastic.
It's amazing.
You can't even see the erosion matting that we've put on the face now.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's growing back really evenly as well.
Yeah. And then on the right hand side then you can see the area which we've reinstated.
Yeah.
So the reason why it's still left fenced off is because there's livestock which go into the field, and the grass just won't grow if livestock starts going over it too early.
Right.
We reinstate it, they come out, they check it, and dependent on the licence agreement which we've got with different landowners, either the landowner reseeds it and maintains it, which in this particular case is easier for them to do, or in some of the cases where we've got small areas of land off private residents, they
get you to do it.
They get us to do it, yeah. So we're stood over the top of CBU 20 at the moment. The area where you're stood, we previously had a haul road running over the top of this section. We've still got the exclusion zone fencing or the restricted zone fencing in place. That's just basically set a couple of metres back from the crest, and it identifies where you need to be rope access if you're going past. So once you go past that gate, you need to be you need your level 3 with you, and you need your rope access equipment to access over. Yeah,
because just the other side of that is the railway line, isn't it?
That is it, yeah.
And a sheer drop.
CBU 20, there's vast amounts of vegetation growing back on this face. This was one of the first areas completed with the netting. We've got about 15% of probably not even 15%, probably 5% of the total netting left to complete in this area. So like I say, CBU 18 is fully nailed and netted.
Yeah.
CBU 20 is fully nailed, around about 5% of the netting left.
Just a bit at the bottom.
Just a bit at the bottom, and the reason why that's left at the moment is we have to clear the cess and drop the level of the cess to ensure that we get the netting to the right level.
What's the cess, sorry?
The cess is the area on the side of the railway. Right. And the reason why we haven't done that at the moment is because our RVs, our road rail vehicles that are working on Saturday nights, we're concentrating on the talus removal so that it doesn't impact the programme over there. So the talus removal is basically in the area of CBU 22, and it's just removing a load of the sediment which is built up in the basin area, which I'll come on to and show you how we're doing that in a moment. At the top over here, you can see the completed product. So you've got the erosion control matting, which is a brown woven matting underneath, which is biodegradable. You've then got the stainless steel G65 mesh on top, which is a GeoBrug product. And then the plates then which connect the perimeter cables. So the perimeter cables is that wire rope that you can see here. That goes all around the perimeter of CBU 20. Wherever you've got joins in the wires, you end up with rope grips, which is what either side of that nail there, which is what the clamps are, which join the two ropes together. They have to be tightened and torqued to a correct setting to ensure that the ropes don't split apart. And then you've got the actual spike plate. So these are P33 spike plates. And then you have a dome nut on top, which allows you to get the nut sitting flush with the plate.
Okay.
And then the nut itself, which sticks out the top then.
And how far do they go into the ground?
In this CBU, 11.25 metres
Wow.
as well. You can see over the top of the tunnel portal, there's quite a few of the, you can see the vegetation growth and quite a few of the plates over there. And then
Because last time we were here, you were still doing this.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So we're just in the process of kind of getting, like I said, the whole road's been stripped out, and we're just in the process of getting this area kind of cleaned up so we can start to look at putting the boundary fences back in. This section of land that we're stood on at the moment is also Network Rail land. So in terms of the handover process, it's a lot easier than handing back this area of land to the client than it is a third party's property. So the perimeter, this demarcation fencing, that won't be removed until we've completed the last of the nail and the last of the netting at the bottom. And then you can there's a good view down here of CBU 20, which you can't even really see any of the nails on the face now.
No.
And CBU 18, where you can't really see anything either.
Just the end, you can just see the tip of the rockfall shelter.
Yeah. CBU 18, the cess is pretty much cleared up. So again, the cess is everything to the left and the right of the two railway lines.
Okay.
That's what we class as the cess.
Okay, right.
The section in the middle of one line is classed as a 4 foot. The section between two railway lines is classed as a 6 foot or 10 foot.
Right.
And then you've obviously got the running rail itself, which are the 4 lines that you can see down there.
Yeah.
So the cess clearance on the right hand side of the 2 lines that you can see, that's all been levelled off and cleared through. When you are drilling, you do get a lot of horizons which are produced, and they all end up down at the bottom of the cess. And in a large number of the CBUs, as we've been completing the drilling programme, there's been a lot of slips which have occurred.
Right.
So mainly because of weather.
Yeah.
So when we have heavier periods of rain, you tend to find that there's a lot of material which does start slipping. I think at the start of June we had it was a really sunny week, and then we had a really bad thunderstorm.
Yeah.
And we ended up with 2 slips, one in CBU 21 and one in CBU 25, which caused a bit of trouble for us. The slips were contained in our temporary catch fences. So what I mean by the temporary catch fences in this CBU, in one of the starting videos, you would be able to see a blue fence which was positioned about 8 metres above the railway line.
Yeah.
And the fence stuck out from the side of the cliff face.
Yeah.
And that temporary catch fence was to contain any small kind of bits of debris which would fall down on the face as we're drilling, any tools which would potentially fall as a kind of third measure. You'd have got the tools being tethered and the hammocks on the rigs, which are the first measures which are put in place for that. But there is also still a residual risk, so it catches any kind of tools and things like that. Mm-hmm. And the temporary catch fences ended up containing one of those slips in CBU 25, so all the material was caught in there, and it prevented the material from dropping onto the railway.
So it works then?
It did, yeah, in that particular case. So one thing you'll notice between the last 2 videos, Richies were previously in this area completing their nailing and netting.
Yeah.
Can have now mobilised to this area because they're the ones undertaking the drilling and the netting in CBU 22 and 23.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're just stood over the top of CBU 21. CBU 21, all of the nails have been completed in this area as well. And this CBU, you'll be able to see from the drone footage the difference in where the netting's been in for a while and it hasn't been.
Okay.
About half of this cliff face on the bottom half has only previously been netted in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So you'll be able to see the difference between areas which have been netted and now they're netted for a long period of time. I think the top section's been netted for possibly about 2 months.
Okay.
So you'll be able to
about 6 weeks difference between the 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And what a perfect day for doing
I know.
a video. So not a lot really going on in those CBUs. Everything's pretty much completed. CBU 21's got about 5% of the netting left in the bottom right corner. We ran into a few issues down there when the tunnel was built. And some of the nails are directly adjacent to the tunnel, and they get drilled behind the back of the tunnel. But what we found is when they started to drill the nail, when they're drilling, they open bore everything, so the hole's just left open, and they attach drill rods onto it.
Yeah.
And we found that there's some voiding in there, so when they've tried to grout it, they're not getting any return on the grout.
Okay.
So what we have to do there is temporary sleeve everything. So we sleeve past the section which has got voids in it to make sure that the grout isn't going into the voids and filling up all the voids and the crevices behind the tunnel, because we don't want to add additional load onto the tunnel or potentially block any drainage which has already been put into there when Brunel built the tunnels. So we're just waiting on a design solution for that, just to make sure that whatever we build in there achieves the 100-year resilience, and that the client and both of the designer are satisfied with the solution that we've proposed. So you can see in here again now the completed product. CBU 21 was also very similar to CBU 18. The top third of this was nailed and netted previously. So we've reused the existing nails and netting in here, which are a load of these. You can see the galvanised stuff at the top here.
Yeah.
It's slightly different to our system, which is the stainless steel over there. You can see the difference in the colour and the shine on it, really.
Yeah.
And again, you can see the perimeter cable going around the top here. It goes all the way around. Every couple of metres as well, there's also what we call a J-pin, which is the where you've got the stainless steel cable running around the top there. You've got some clips joining the mesh to the cable, and then you've also got a bar which goes over the top, and that's about 1 metre long on either side of there, and they just get hammered into the cliff face, and it tidies and neatens the netting up, and also also keeps everything
bit of extra protection.
Yeah, everything tight to the cliff face and adds in a bit more resilience. The temporary stakes at the top here, they get removed after. That's just for rope access lines, and you can see where some of the guys have been rigging up with the different knots onto the nail there to access onto the cliff face to complete the remaining netting further down below. The only way to get onto the cess on this side is either in possession or by rope access.
Okay.
So we have at the bottom what's called Vortoc fencing, which is the blue fencing which is attached to the railway line, and that sets a safe distance. And we employ a COS, and he's the controller of site safety. So in the event of anything going wrong or anything slipping, anything going onto track, etc., he has direct contact to the signal box, and he can report
stop the trains if necessary.
Report any safety issues or whatnot. But he's never had to do that when we're doing the drilling. It's just a system that has to be in place to follow the network rail standards. So the blue fence at the bottom is set 1.25 metres back, and that creates the area of separation between the workforce when they're down in the cess and the open railway line. And you have to have a COS working with you when you're working fenced.
We really hope you enjoyed part 1 of this video. Please give it a like and a share, and subscribe to our channel. Join us soon for part 2, where we'll find out how an owl shut down this whole section for 7 weeks. If you're a VIP, you can watch it now. Thanks for watching.